Hi guys, my name is James Rocks and I'm going to be talking today about gaining Brazilian residency through property purchase. Now, more and more people nowadays seem to be wanting to gain an additional residency in another country, an additional passport, and Brazil is not a bad place, either to become a resident or even eventually a Brazilian citizenships, and there are advantages to that, and I'll talk a bit more about that. But why Brazil as well? Well, Brazil as a country, it's an emerging economy, okay, and it's a huge, absolutely huge country. You must remember, when we think about Brazil, we're talking about a country that is of continental proportions, and Brazil is like many countries in a continent, basically, and it's resource rich. It's got a lot going for it. It sure has its problems as well, but I think the benefits outweigh the negatives. I've been living back in Brazil now for 8.5 years. I first lived here 18 years ago. I've always had connections with the Brazil, and I wouldn't change here for anywhere else in the world. I think a lot about what draws people here is obviously the climate, the natural beauty. It's got all that going for it, but also the people. You know, the people are outgoing, they're friendly. Also, there are a lot of social freedoms here in Brazil. Generally, the government are not going to come and start messing with you. The climate is good. It's varied over Brazil. Of course, you have places that are very hot, and you have places that have a winter of sorts as well. But on the whole, I think the Brazilian climate, being someone who came from the United Kingdom, I much prefer the climate here, okay? And to become a Brazilian resident or eventually citizen, there are many different paths for that as well. So the most easiest would be marrying a Brazilian, okay? Or having a Brazilian child. The whole family can gain citizenship, residency, subsequently citizenship, when you have a child that is born in Brazil. Also in Brazil, where is the best place to live? See, I personally would opt for Santa Catarina, which is the second most southern state in Brazil. It's an incredibly beautiful place, stunning beaches there, world-renowned, world-class beaches, and you've got a bit of everything there. Like on the coast, you've got these great urban beaches like in Balneário Camboriú, this bustling city, the Brazilian Dubai. You've got this great boardwalk along the beach, places to ride your bike, to run, people on the beach playing volleyball, beach tennis, fantastic. And then you've got these more secluded areas, you've got these more rustic beaches as well, like Florianopolis. There are some great beaches that are out of the way, that you may have to go on a hike to get to them. Also in Santa Catarina as well, you've got some beautiful mountainous places where it even snows in winter, where you can get a dusting of snow. It's got these great German colony, these interesting villages like Blumenau or Pomerode. There's a lot that's quite close together, so it's quite varied as well. And I'd say the climate is very favorable here. It never gets too hot. It does get cooler in the winter, but compared to the UK, I think it's a good payoff as well. What about acquiring residency? How do you go about that? Well, when a foreign national invests over 1 million reais in a property or multiple properties in the south of Brazil, they are eligible for residency. So you get a temporary residency for 4 years, okay? To maintain that residency, you need to spend 14 days here every 2 years. You can divide that up, so you're here 7 days 1 year, 7 days the next year, and so on. So after that initial 4 years of temporary residency, if you have not sold the property which qualified you, you can then switch, you can apply for permanent residency. And as a permanent resident, after 4 years, so 8 years in total, okay, 4 years, temporary resident, 4 years, permanent resident, you can become a citizen, okay? And to be fair, a Brazilian passport is not a bad option. It will get you into 164 countries, so you don't need a visa to go to Europe or the United Kingdom. The B1, B2 visas for the United States are not that difficult for Brazilians to acquire as well. So it's not a bad passport in the grand scheme of things. So you get to live in a great country, and you have eventually becoming a citizen, you have good access to the rest of the world as well. So there are a lot of people who are coming to Brazil for that. There are a lot of Russians, Ukrainians as well, who are coming here. There are many other nationalities that are coming here as well, exactly for that reason, so that they can gain a Brazilian passport, and that will more easily open up other areas in the world for traveling, as well as being able to have a great quality of life, which I would say in the state of Santa Catarina is a very high quality of life because it's safe, okay? It's a fantastic climate, there's great infrastructure, good public services such as schools, hospitals, great shops, great amenities, as well as being in a stunning part of the world. So for me, it's a win-win situation. There are a lot of payoffs, there are a lot of advantages. What about the Brazilian property market, and more specifically here in the state of Santa Catarina? Brazil is one of the best property markets in the world for capital appreciation. So, for example, if you buy an apartment here off plan, you have the potential by the time it's ready and you want to resell that, doing that as an investment, you have the potential to make 50% or in excess of 100% on your initial investment, okay? Out of all the emerging countries, the Brazilian market is the best in the world for capital appreciation. Rental yields are good as well. So typically in this state, if you purchase a place and you want to put it for rent, you would normally set the rent at around 0.5% of the property value to 1% of the property value. Now that depending on the specific area you are in, you'll be closer to the 0.5 or closer to the 1% as well. There are a lot of tourist destinations as well in the state of Santa Catarina, both on the coast and also inland, like Blumenau, where they have, at the moment it's October, so they have the Beer Fest, Oktoberfest. So there are a lot of people going there to visit and take part in these huge street parties they've got there. Now, in the summertime here, in the Southern Hemisphere, kind of December into February, March time, it's the tourist season. And there are a lot of visitors that come to the coastal cities here. So whether that would be Florianópolis, Itapema, whether that would be Itajaí, also Praia Brava there, Balneário Camboriú, Guarda de Embaú. You know, lots of tourist spots here along the coast where people will come from all over Brazil, from different parts of South America. Many Argentinians come, seeing people from Paraguay, seeing people from Chile coming here, and seeing people come from much further afield, starting to notice more American tourists here now as well in recent years, okay? And it's a very good market for short-term rentals, Airbnb. You can get very good daily rates for your property. So, for example, Florianópolis, the capital of Santa Catarina, this year it was the 7th most sought after destination in the world on Airbnb, making it #1 in Brazil. So you can see there's a lot of demand for here. Now I would say that Florianópolis is only just being discovered, as are other places in Santa Catarina. Word is getting out about this place. So that is going to have an impact where the tendency for property prices is going to be to go up and up. There are a lot of Brazilians moving here. There are a lot of internationals starting to move here and now. So it's a good time to get into the property market here and use that as a way of making money, whether that's investing, buying off plan, whether that's and then reselling, whether that is flipping, whether that is renting out either on a fixed term or that kind of more Airbnb short-term rents, which tends to be very lucrative if you get the right neighborhood and renting it out at the right time of year. Okay. Costings. How much does it all cost? What kind of costs are involved in buying property in Brazil, specifically in Santa Catarina, and also the fees and things to become a resident? Okay, so the minimum spend, the minimum investment in the south of Brazil is 1 million reais. So that's the equivalent to about $200,000, equivalent to about 160,000 pounds, and the equivalent to about what, 188,000 euros. So if you compare that to North American prices, UK prices, European prices, the housing market here tends to be very good. You get a lot of bang for your buck, and for 1 million reais you can buy a nice property. Now, depending on where that is, let's say in the state of Santa Catarina, you may or may not get something to your liking on the beachfront. Okay, as you can imagine, certain places in Florianopolis. So let's take, for example, Jurerê Internacional, which is slated as the Brazilian Miami, playground of the rich. You're not going to find anything on the beach there for 1 million reais. But in Ingleses, you may get an apartment with a great sea view for that price. Okay, and in other places as well, you know, it's good to do that comparison. For other places, your money will go further. Okay, but in terms of property as well, there's a huge range. So whether that would be high-end luxury stuff, Jurerê, you know, a great place for mansions, luxury apartments, Balneário Camboriú, it's a place where the rich like to flaunt their wealth, great high-rise skyscraper apartment blocks, tallest buildings in Brazil, soon to have, or to start construction, tallest residential building in the world as well. So you get that high-end luxury market, but then you get stuff that is to a high standard, but a real accessible price as well. What other cost? So one of the costs would be legal fees, and I would recommend, you know, if you want to purchase a property here and then apply for a residency, doing that through a law firm that has expertise in that. And typically I think that's going to cost you, if they're doing the whole process, them helping you before the property purchase, getting the documents you need, like the Brazilian tax ID, which is a CPF. It doesn't mean you're liable for tax having that by itself, but you need that in order to have a property in your name here. They can help you acquire that. It's not difficult, by the way. Due diligence, closing of a property purchase, visa application, all your document checks, making sure all your documents for the Brazilian side are lined up, what you need from abroad, that's all lined up. Also, they will help you as well, bringing your money into Brazil as well. It's important that if you want to acquire residence through purchasing a property or even investing in a business, it needs to be shown that that money has come from an account outside your country into Brazil. So an account in your name outside to either the developer or the property owner. So that needs to pass through central bank, and you know, a law firm that is specialized in this can help you get a very good rate, maybe somewhere in the area of about 2%, in terms 2% paid on top of the transfer. Okay, so I would highly recommend doing that. A complete package, all due diligence, everything involved in that will probably set you back around somewhere between 20 to 25,000 reais. Okay, what other costs are involved? When you buy a property, the property needs to be transferred to your name. So there's about another 2% on that as well. Typically in Florianopolis and Santa Catarina, 2% for the property to be registered in your name. Now, you don't pay a commission to the agent, the seller will pay the commission, so you don't need to worry about that. What about property options? Well, I've talked about a bit about that, so there are lots of great options in places. I would, if you're looking for yields in terms of rental potential, because it may be that you want to be resident in Brazil for part of the year and make some money off your property by renting it out for the rest of the year. So, you know, look at popular tourist destinations. I mean, Florianopolis, you can't really go wrong, but look for those beaches such as Canasvieiras, Campeche, Ingleses, Jurerê. Now, those are really attractive places to have a place, because as well as attracting tourists in high tourist season, they also have a lot of life in them there as well. So your rental potential extends beyond the tourist season as well, if that's what you're looking to do. And there's other places in the state as well that would be good candidates for that kind of idea if you're thinking of spending time between Brazil and another country, which a lot of people are. Catch the summer in Brazil, catch the summer in the northern hemisphere as well. Now, if you're interested in acquiring a property here and even becoming a resident as well, why don't you reach out? My email will be here on the screen, james@roxinvestments.com. Our website is roxinvestments.com as well. Check it out. There's more information. There's also many property listings there as well. I will say that we have access to a lot more properties than that are listed on our site as well, but hopefully it serves as a good example of giving you a taste of what is out there. So I hope to hear from you, and also leave your comments as well